Okay, for part two, we're going to do an application problem. Down. It says example, the table and completed line graph below give the annual production of garbage in the United States for some specific years. Find the slope of each line segment, segments A through E in the graph, and note the change in scale for line segment E. That's because of this guy right here. They're, instead of going, it looks like from 60 to 70, 70 to 80, 80 to 90, 90 to 2000. And then we only have a 7-year gap here instead of the 10 years. Now, trying to figure out what these points are going to be brutal. So I'm going to come over here and use the table that they're giving us. To find line segment A, I'm going to find the slope between 1960 and 1970. One of the things you need to understand is time is always going to be the X variable. And that means your garbage has to be your Y variable. So I'm going to do A, and then I want you to pause the video and go through and do B, C, D, and E. This will give you some really good practice for your finding your slope for 2 points. So this is how I would do that. I've got 2 points. One is from 1960, where it had 88 million tons of garbage. I'm just going to use 88. And then my second point is 1970. Again, the time has to be, the year has to be the X variable, and it had 121 for the Y. We need to label X1, Y1, X2, Y2, and then find your slope. And this is for A. Y sub 2 is 121, minus Y sub 1 is 88. X sub 2 is 1970, minus X sub 1 is 1960. 10-year difference for these. Need a calculator. 121 minus 88 is 33 over 10. Now, for this, typically I would say do not use fractions or do not use decimals. For this, I would use decimals because it's a representation of something that's happening. So I'm not going to say that it's it's increasing because that's positive by 33 millions of tons, 33 million tons for 10 years. But what is more impactful is what is that looking like per year? What is it happening per year? And when you divide this, you'll find out that it's 3.3 million tons of garbage per year is being used. So I want you to find B and then come back to see how you did. Now you can't use 1960 because that's not where B starts. B starts in 1970. So you're going to have to use 1970 to 1980. Do those points, 1970, how many tons of garbage, and 1980, how many tons of garbage, and then find the slope for that. Pause the video, go do that, and then come back to see how you did. So in 1970, we had 121, 1980, 152. Let's label X1, Y1, X2, Y2. Y sub 2 is 152, minus Y sub 1 is 121, over 1980 minus 1970. 152 minus 121 is 31. Divide that, you get 3.1. So less per year from 1970 to 1980. What the population looked like. I'd be curious. So that means it has less garbage being used. In 1990, I'm sorry, C, pause the video and go do C now. You're going to have to use 1980 to 1990. This is A, B, C, D, and then E. So go ahead and do all of those if you'd like, and then come back to see how you did. C, we have 1980, which was 152, and then 1990 had 205. Let's check the slope on that. X1, Y1, X2, Y2. Y sub 2 is 205. Y sub 1 is 152. And then 1990 minus 1980. Oh my goodness, stop it. 205 minus 152 is 53. Holy smokes. Well, that jumped. My gosh, that's a heck of an increase of garbage. And then let's go find D and E. D is from 1990. It had 205 to 2000. Had 224. X1, Y1, X2, Y2. Slope is Y sub 2 minus Y sub 1 over, Rosie, stop it. X sub 2 is 2000 minus Y sub 1. Stop it. 1990. Let's subtract 224 minus 205 is 19 over 10, which is 1.9. Oh, that's a substantial difference. My gosh. Oh, pause just a second. Okay, for E, we're going to go 2000, which had 224, and then 2007, which had 254. X1, Y1, X2, Y2. So Y sub 2, 254, minus Y sub 1, 224, over. Now, this is the one that's not the 10 years. It's 2007 minus 2000. It's like 30 over 7. Let me check that. 254 minus 224. Yep. So divided by 7 is going to give me 4 point. How do we want to take this? Just one decimal? 4 point. That'd be 3, right? Because since the 8 is greater than 5, we would add 1 to our 10th place. So 4.3. So some substantial differences. I'm curious if this is actually accurate. It could just be for fun, for practice. All right, let me know what questions you have, and we'll get through this.